Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope everyone has had a great week and I hope you're closing May satisfied and happy and looking forward to June. Students, this class is an IELTS Task 2 writing. The topic of this question is regarding punishing children and parents. And this was a question on a previous IELTS exam, or I should say a similar question was asked on a previous IELTS exam. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's where we have all of our videos, practice exams, interactive course, and much, much more. Welcome, Lewis. Hi, Anna, Elizabeth, Carolina, our chat moderator. Nice to see you. Students, our general IELTS website looks like this with the green background. You can click the big red button to join the premium version of our course. For the academic IELTS, it's the blue background. And again, just click that button that's above my head there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and it doesn't cost very much. You can also use the code VISTA10 for an extra 10% discount from that one-time payment. Students, we help thousands of candidates pass their IELTS exams each week, and we definitely want you to become one of our success stories. We will use this website in our next class, which will be a listening class coming up in about 2 hours for a listening exam. Premium students, I will be sending you your Zoom links today for your premium Zoom classes. If any of you are curious what those look like, check out this link right here. I will put this into the chat. The apps that will link to the websites are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. You can check those out in your app stores. And Instagram for schedules, IELTS_AE Help and GIELTS Help. And if you have questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Those will both work. Students, the live schedule for the coming few days, today until the 2nd of June, we've got Task 2 writing for you right now. This is a members chat class. That means YouTube members, not the website members, although you could be both. And then we have listening part 1 and part 2. Tomorrow we will have speaking part 2 for our channel subscribers. And then we'll have speaking part 3 for everyone. So lots of speaking tomorrow, the cue card, and then the challenging speaking part 3 questions. On Sunday, the 2nd of June, we will have our Zoom class for our website premium students. We're always releasing some great content for you for the IELTS, for preparing. This is a speaking section video from Turkey by Alif. She does a great job. Check that out when you have a moment. All right, make sure to subscribe to the channel for lots of strategies and schedules for the IELTS exam. Students, again, this question that we're looking at here, IELTS Task 2 writing, this was submitted by Debora, one of our regular students, and she's very studious, she's very hardworking, and she said, hey, I heard that there was a question that was kind of like this on May 9th. So at the start of the month on the IELTS exam, and she was asking if we could take a look at this question in the class to get a good idea. By the way, students, I'm still waiting on Domenico to get back to me on that email I sent him regarding his task 2 question. So hopefully we get word from him as well, and then we'll be able to look at another question that is similar to one that happened in May. Okay. By the way, viewers, if you have IELTS exams and you have some questions on those exams and you would like to see us discuss similar topics, let me know. Okay. So task 2 writing, everybody, it's a persuasive essay. Okay. A persuasive essay. A lot of students go argument essay. It's not an argument essay, is a kind of persuasive essay, but technically in literature, they don't say argumentative essay so much. They say a persuasive essay. You're not necessarily arguing. Arguing kind of takes this negative tone. You're persuading. Persuade means to convince. The goal is to convince the reader. Okay, so it's a persuasive essay. And you take 40 minutes on this task. It's 2/3 of your writing mark. It's 2/3 of the writing time. You're writing for an hour. This takes 40 minutes. And you have to write at least 250 words. Not maximum 250 words. A lot of candidates kind of confuse that point. They think it's like a maximum 250 words. It's not a maximum. Band 7 to 9 essays are usually between 300 and 350 words. Okay, keep that in mind. I have talked to a lot of IELTS examiners and markers, and they have unanimously said that they rarely, if ever, give high band scores to essays that are just 250 words. It's almost impossible to give a good response, to write a good essay in just 250 words. 250 words is really just 4 short paragraphs. 4 short paragraphs is tricky to have a complete, coherent essay. All right. Students, so the next step is to read the question. Okay, let's do that now. So some people think that children should be punished for the crime they commit. Others also believe that their parents should be punished instead. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Okay. Provocative, interesting question. IELTS likes to ask these kinds of questions. By the way, students, this question could easily be for the academic or the general IELTS. So step 1 is just read it carefully. Okay, step 2 is paraphrase the question. Members, do this with me. So it means write the question down using your own words. So you get a clear understanding and that you collect some vocabulary. Okay. So write it down again. I'll read it one more time. Some people think that children should be punished for the crime they commit. Others also believe that parents should be punished instead. Okay. Certain individuals, it's just another way to say some people, think, believe, children, juveniles. Juveniles is a very good paraphrase here, everybody, because according to law, the word technically for children is juveniles. What's another way to say punished, everyone? So what's another way to express the word punished? Anybody? What's another way to say punished? I'm not sure, maybe my chat is stuck here. I'm going to try to, oh, Lewis says criticize. Criticize is not going to work here, Lewis. Anahita says face the music. Face the music is not so good. I wouldn't use an idiom here, Anahita. Face the music is idiomatic. It would be too colloquial, especially for this topic. So here we're talking about legal law, rules and regulations of society. I would definitely stay away from phrasal verbs and idioms, okay? Keep this in mind. It's a good kind of a tip here for everybody. Tip. With certain technical topics, like laws, rules, regulations, it is a good idea to stay away from idioms and colloquial language, okay? Especially at the beginning of your essay. Lewis says chastise. It's Old English. We don't use it so much. Discipline is very good, Elizabeth, or reprimand. Okay. So ought to be reprimanded for the crime. Crime, what would be another way to express crime? Okay. So far we have certain individuals believe juveniles ought to be reprimanded for the wrongdoing is okay, Anahita. Yep, absolutely. So wrongdoing, sure. Yep, that works. I agree with you. Now, wrongdoing isn't necessarily a crime, but it could be, for sure. Priya, Darshini, thank you for joining our group of YouTube members. Lovely to have you. Please join in on the chat and make sure to send me an email so I can hook you up with those videos. And of course, you can make requests for topics. Elizabeth, delinquency is very accurate. Yeah. Delinquency is used in legal terms. So if any of you are studying law or to become a lawyer, jurisprudence, then you will see these words, juveniles and delinquency, in your studies. They are used in law. Of course, different fields like engineering, medicine, and law have their own vocabularies. So if you are in the field of law and jurisprudence, it's good to do a little bit of research and know different ways to express these. Yeah, absolutely. So certain individuals believe juveniles ought to be reprimanded for or for delinquency or for delinquencies. Okay, while others ascertain is a nice fancy way to say believe, that their guardians, usually that's the parents, of course, but guardians is actually a really good word here because it's whoever is responsible for the child, right? A guardian is the adult responsible for the child according to society. So that isn't always the parents, if in some horrible situation the parents are not available, right? So guardian would be a good paraphrase here, and it does include in most cases the parents. Abraham, welcome to our group of YouTube members. Lovely to have you. Okay. All right. So their guardians need to be disciplined. We'll take that other fine word that was suggested by Elizabeth, need to be disciplined. Instead, we'll keep that word the same. You don't need to paraphrase every single word. What's more important when you're paraphrasing is that you are being fluent. Abraham, welcome. Nice to see you join the chat. Priya, great to see you in the chat as well. So we're going to work together, everybody, to create this high band essay for this task 2 question. Priya and Abraham, I hope that you also get a chance to use the websites. This is aehelp.com here. And when you get the chance, please check it out. Also join here. Use the premium package. The combination of YouTube membership with our premium package is a brilliant idea. And then in your My Student account for task 2, at least, make sure to start with the course. So the best place to start is with the course. If you're finding that writing is your weakness, you can focus on the writing section, go through the courseware, and then as you're doing the courseware, everybody, in your course, it will explain all of these different steps for writing task 1 and writing task 2. And then make sure to watch the videos that are connected to that courseware. So there's lots of writing videos there. And then after you've done that, so you've gone through the courseware and the videos, then of course do the practice exams. And it's that combination of these live classes together with the courseware that will get you that fast improvement that you're looking for. Okay. All right. So that's what you want to do, everybody. All right. That's the right kind of system. And of course, make sure to join the premium Zoom classes, everyone. Okay. All right. So we've got our paraphrasing here. Let's read the original question. Let's read the paraphrase, and then we'll take the next steps. So some people think that children should be punished for the crime they commit. Others also believe that their parents should be punished instead. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Certain individuals believe juveniles ought to be reprimanded for delinquencies, while others ascertain that their guardians need to be disciplined instead. Okay, the paraphrasing looks good. So we've done step 1 and step 2. Now, the next step is identifying the topic. What are we talking about? Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of IELTS candidates commit is they start writing and they haven't clearly identified the topic. And that's a big no-no in writing. That's a big mistake. That will lead potentially to writing off topic. If you write off topic, that's a big problem. You're going to really lose a lot of marks, even if you have good grammar and spelling and vocabulary. So identify the topic of task 2 writing. You should never write an essay to a question without explicitly identifying the topic first. Keep in mind, if you write off topic, even with perfect English, you will not get a score over band 6 or 6.5. Okay. Yeah, very good, Anna. Excellent. So Anna's on the ball here. Anna says, well, clearly the topic here is punishment for children who commit crimes. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Now, here, if we want to be very technical, Anna, and because you're in jurisprudence, you are in law, you can use the very clear terms that we use in jurisprudence here. Punishment for juvenile crime. Yeah. A slang term is juvie, which means jail for children. Juvie, juvenile crime. Punishment for juvenile crime. Yeah. And the controlling ideas? The controlling ideas are basically like what? Like what are we interested in? So punishment for juvenile crime, okay, there are a lot of different aspects that we could discuss with this. So what exactly are we talking about? And the question here, of course, I'm sure most of you realize right away, is whether it is the child or the parent that should be reprimanded. Okay, now here the next step, of course, is asking what, why, how. So step 4 is ask what, why, and how, meaning what is juvenile crime, right? So what is that, everybody? What is a juvenile crime? Okay. So again, and in the IELTS, so I know some of you are thinking that, hey, Adrian, we have 40 minutes. What are you doing? If I do this, I'm going to run out of time. But no, that's not true. And I know many of you who are practicing with me regularly will say to your peers that, hey, guys, that's not true. When you practice this method, all of this planning really only takes you a couple minutes, and it really gives you a good idea of what to write. So in fact, you're actually going to be a lot faster, right? Does everybody agree with me on that? I don't want to just put thoughts in your head. So I would say this, right? So when you practice correct planning, one of the most common questions I get, everyone, for task 2 writing is, Adrian, I don't know how to come up with ideas, and so the writing is really slow. And then I say, well, yeah, of course, right? You have to have strategy, not just for writing, but for planning, right? So when you practice correct planning strategy, like what I'm showing you right now and what's in your course, okay? Now, I didn't come up with this completely. This exists. So when you learn about how to write and how to respond to essays in university, they will teach you the same steps, okay? But in university, you'll pay thousands of dollars. For the course, you're only paying like $40, so it's a good investment. I paid a lot of money to learn this. www.aehelp.com will teach you that. And same with IELTShelp.com. Okay, so when you practice correct planning strategy, you can have a good plan in 5 minutes or less, and then write a quick essay. Okay. So, what is juvenile crime? Let's be quantitative. So Elizabeth, juveniles breaking the law is circular reasoning. It doesn't work. Okay? So Elizabeth says juveniles breaking the law. Elizabeth, that's circular reasoning. What is juveniles breaking the law? It's juvenile crime. What is juvenile crime? It's just a synonym, right? It's called circular reasoning. So it doesn't work. Abraham says, like smoking. Smoking is not really considered a juvenile crime, at least not in Canada, and that's more of an example of it. Anahita says, kids violating the law. Be a lawyer here. Okay, so it's something about breaking the law, yes, but beyond just juveniles breaking the law, Elizabeth. So breaking the law, what is a juvenile? If you can define that for me, then it stops being circular reasoning. So what is the definition of a juvenile? Breaking the law by an... Thank you, Anahita. Anahita says under the age of 18. Okay, under the legal age. Breaking the law by an underaged 18-year-old. Usually it's 18 in most countries, I believe. Okay. Yeah, so don't forget your quantification. This thought should come into your mind very early with this essay. Okay. All right. And why? Why do juveniles commit crimes? So I know it's a big question, but it's good to have a quick thought of this before you write this essay. So why do juveniles commit crime? Okay, you know what? Well, we could ask this why question. Asking the right question, student, is the most important part of a good essay, right? This isn't actually probably the best question. I would say there's a better question than why do juveniles commit crimes. I don't think this is the best why question. So I would actually take this out. Okay? I think there's a better why question than this. What's the better why question? What is the better why question? Okay. I definitely think that there's a much better why question that we can ask here. And think about this essay. So again, for those of you joining in, the essay topic that we are covering is a question that was, we're not just making this up. This was given to us by Debora. This was a question or a similar question to the question in the May 9th IELTS exams just a few weeks ago. And the question that a lot of candidates had to answer was, some people think that children should be punished for the crime they commit. Others also believe that their parents should be punished instead. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. So here we have, what is juvenile crime? Breaking the law by an underaged, I think it's underaged, like that. Yeah, one word. Underaged 18-year-old. And then we need to ask another question. That's a good question here. And I said, why do juveniles commit crimes? But that's not really the right question. And students, the trick to life and everything that is asking the right questions. So if you want to know the secret to life and all that is, it's asking the right questions. So what is the right question here? Maybe Anna will be able to answer this since she's in law. There's something that you should recognize here very quickly. You should realize, like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a fair point, or that's a fair question to ask. So Anahita says, why those immature commit crimes? No. Lewis says, what are the contributing factors of juvenile crime? No. Anahita says, why do they have such emotions and such egos? No. That's not the right question. The right question has to do with their age. The right question would be, why does society separate crime to juvenile and adult? Why isn't it just crime? Why don't we just say you broke the law? It doesn't matter if you're 4 years old or 400 years old. So why does society separate crime to juvenile and adult? That's the right question. Does everybody see that? Okay. So what's the answer to that? Now I'm sure a lot of you are having a moment of epiphany. You're like, oh yeah, Right, of course. Society has a very clear line here. Under 18 crime, over 18 crime. Society at some point decided this wasn't always the way it was. In the past, it didn't matter if you're a kid or an adult, right? But at some point, societies around the world decided that no, we can't just make this all one big group. We have to separate at a certain age, right? Okay, so Anahita says because of maturity and immaturity. What kind of maturity, Anahita, are we talking about here? Right? So, yeah, I would agree with you because of mental and physical. Right? If a 5-year-old comes up and kicks me in the leg, we're not going to send him to jail. But if a 20-year-old comes up and kicks me in the leg and I get injured, well, it's questionable, right? It's a physical attack. And they could be punished by the law. If you try to take a 5-year-old to court and say, you know, they kicked me in the leg, they should be sent to jail, they're going to kind of laugh at the situation, right? So it's mental and physical maturity. Most societies agree that humans reach mental physical maturity at the age of 18, at which time they should be responsible for themselves. So we start to think about this now. When we think about examples, right? That was a good example. How can we see this? Well, a 5-year-old girl who bites me in the leg will not be charged criminally, but a 19-year-old girl who bites me in the leg can be. Just have fun with it, everybody. Have fun with it. Bites me in the leg can be charged for assault. Okay, the correct term there is for assault. So that's the difference, right? There's a difference in maturity. Okay. All right. No, I have not been bitten by anybody in the leg. I just came up with that, right? Okay. So again, students, you want to practice these steps and practice asking the right questions. So now you start to realize, okay, there's some clear separation here between adult and juvenile crime and law. And then you do the same for the controlling ideas, okay? So ask what, why, how for controlling ideas, right? And so here we can ask, what is punishment for juveniles who commit crime, right? And I'm going to pick up a little bit of speed here because I want you to write. So everybody, I want you to write in the chat. At the same time, I think that you're starting to get some clear ideas now. So now that you're on the right path and you have a good flow of thought, you're probably going to be much faster. Now it's just putting your fingers on the keyboard and typing, right? So what is punishment for youth who commit crime? So for instance, doing community work for 200 hours for shoplifting, right? I'm kind of combining the how as well into this, so the example, right? Now, why? So why should we punish youth who commit crime? What's the reason that we want to punish youth? So that they understand consequence. Yes, Elizabeth, learn a lesson. Consequence, right? So that they understand consequence and they contribute to society. Okay, absolutely, right? So they learn laws. Okay, very good, Lewis. Okay, very good. Now, what is punishment for adults who have children who commit crime? Okay, so it would be parents doing, let's say, community work or even jail time for their children who commit crime. Now, the question here is why, right? So why do this? So why punish the parents? Okay, because it may be the parents' bad examples and parenting that has led to the juvenile crime. Okay, sure. So your thoughts are flying along. You're controlling them, right? So you're controlling your thoughts as much as possible. You're getting lots and lots of thoughts. And of course, you're controlling not just your thoughts, but your emotions as well. As we discussed in our premium student Zoom class, and I know many of our members are also premium students, so make sure to check that class that we just did on Wednesday. Okay, if anybody missed that, by the way, you can check out the essay that we covered in that class. So in that class, we looked at a different essay topic, but it was also a task 2, and it was interesting. I'm going to show you that one right now. It's in our YouTube community post, and it was did I? Oh, maybe I. Oh, it's yeah. I haven't posted. Oh, I posted that one last time. Oh no, it was this one. It was from last week. It was from last week. My bad. It was this one, and this was the question from May 19th, or a similar question was covered in IELTS exams around the world on May 19th, and it was this question about restoring old buildings and building new houses. Everybody remembers that one? Like, governments should use money to restore old buildings, or they should use that money for new roads and new houses. And I mean, 116 thumbs up just on the post on that one. You can read that whole essay. And there was a very important message that I gave everybody there. What was that one? Okay, there was a really interesting message that I said. So control your thoughts, your emotions, and think logically, right? That was the message. It was yeah, exactly, Elizabeth. Think logically. Don't let your emotions guide you, right? And in this case, with this essay, interestingly, for those students who have good emotional control, I think they probably had a little bit of an easier time with these questions. So here is the question then for everybody. So all of this thinking that we've done so far, it leads to your thesis statement, right? Your decision. This question, this task 2 question that we're looking at, again, looks like this. Some people think that children should be punished for the crime they commit. Others also believe that their parents should be punished instead. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. So you have to give your opinion, obviously, and you have to discuss both views. Okay? Now, here, all of this thinking that we're doing in the first 5 minutes, or 3 minutes even, you can do it really fast when you practice, comes to this point, the thesis statement. It's your argument. The thesis statement can make or break your essay. Okay? If you have some okay English, like okay vocabulary and okay grammar, you can get a great band score. If you have great English, like great vocabulary, great grammar, you can still get a terrible band score if you have a strange essay that doesn't make sense or is illogical. Okay? So your thesis statement is the last sentence of your introductory paragraph that tells the reader your clear position. Okay? Students, do not write this essay, and this is where a lot of students, and then I forget or I don't know what to write. Well, of course, because you haven't thought about what to write. So if you write this essay will discuss both sides and provide my opinion, this is a low band score. And it does not help you write the essay, which is an even bigger problem. Well, it's kind of the same problem, right? So the thesis statement. So here, here's the obvious. So we now know, right? Like it's like discuss both views. So we can discuss both views, right? We can discuss one view that it's this one right here, that children should be punished so that they learn consequence, they learn the law, they contribute to society, right? That's one point. The other point that we learn is that maybe parents should be punished as well because it's parents' bad examples and bad parenting that has led to committing those crimes. Now, the question we have, of course, remaining is, what is your opinion? Who should be punished? What's your answer to that, students? So what do you think in this case? Who should be punished? Okay, if an under 18-year-old commits a crime, should be punished the child, the parents, or both? Or neither? Priya says both of them. Okay. Elizabeth says both. Okay. If you're having trouble deciding, okay. Lewis says, while it is intolerable that teenagers commit criminal activities, in my opinion, parents should receive disciplinary action instead, since poor parenting is a contributing cause for juveniles. Okay. See, I think it's hard. It's hard. I tried to warn you about this. I don't think you're thinking completely logically. You're not thinking it through. You think you are, but I don't think you are. Okay. When you're having difficulty, here's a trick. A trick for IELTS. It's not a trick. It's more of a tip. It's a learning of the whys, right? So think about it this way. Okay, this is a really good strategy for the IELTS. Okay, what does society do? Okay, what does society do? Does society punish the parents or the children only? Think about that one. Hint, hint. Right? You don't have to. So for the IELTS, students, don't try to reinvent the wheel. This is going to be the motto of the day. Okay? So for the IELTS, don't try to reinvent the wheel. It's difficult. Believe me, there are a lot of smart people in society who study juvenile law, history of juvenile law, social sciences, sociology, and this is what they live and breathe and eat every single day, are these questions. Okay? All right. In most cases, it's the child. Okay? So you usually don't hear the parents being punished, okay? In most cases, it is the child that receives punishment and not the parents. Why? Okay. Well, there's always the nature-nurture debate. So some people might say, hey, the parents are angels. They've done everything for that child to live well and have a good life. And yet still that child went and did something horrible. Why would we punish the parents? It wasn't their fault. That's one, okay, argument against punishing the parents. All right. If you punish the parents, let's take the most extreme case. Who's going to raise the child? Society. Is that going to be much better? Right? So at worst, I would say parents should be educated, but not punished. So those are the arguments if we were in a debate club and we were debating this. But we don't have to debate it, everybody. So you don't have to be like, oh, Adrian always wants to be right and it's always Adrian's answer. No, no, no. No, it's not mine. I'm just looking at what society does. So I'm thinking like, what does society currently do? Society currently usually punishes the child, gives them community hours, makes them work, makes them learn. And usually the parents are left out of it. They have some maybe consultation. Society checks on the parents to make sure, they're doing what needs to be done, and maybe gives them advice or gives them some assistance. But generally they don't get punished because that's not usually going to lead to a better result, right? All right. So Lewis, notice something interesting. So Lois says, I feel it's parents' ignorance and too much love that plays a part. And what do we notice, Lewis? That you feel this. And what is a feeling? It's an emotion. And you need to control those emotions and think logically, right? So you might, yes, Elizabeth says it's an emotion. You feel this, Lewis, and law and science does not adhere to emotion, okay? It adheres to logic. So logically, the lawyer will say, yeah, maybe you're right, Lewis. Maybe the parenting did play a part in the child committing the crime, but punishing the parent will still not likely lead to a better result. That's the problem, right? Okay, so from all of this, we can now formulate the thesis statement. Again, remember, your thesis statement is the key. Literally, it is the key to your essay. Okay, so write a thesis statement, everybody. I'm going to write a thesis statement, and you do the same. We'll write the thesis statements, and we'll compare. Okay. So on the one hand, children should be punished because it helps them mature socially, while punishing the parents may lead to compensation. I do not support this view. Okay? All right, so something like that. On the one hand, children should be punished because it helps them mature socially, while punishing the parents may lead to compensation. I do not support this view. Okay? Now I'm going to rephrase this. Punishing parents for their children's crimes may have reasons, but ultimately I believe it is only children, or I side with the belief that only children should serve the consequence for their crimes. Okay? So I took my first thesis, and when you're writing a thesis, everybody, you want to think it through, and you don't want to necessarily go with the first or second or even the third one. This is where you want to spend an extra minute. Once you have a good thesis, you can write a good essay. Okay? So I'm playing around with the thoughts here. First, you notice that I'm talking about children should be punished. But then I realized, wait, that's the side that I want to support, so I'm going to write about that second. And so I should write about punishing parents first. And so I changed it. So I said, okay, punishing parents for their children's crimes may have reasons, or may have maybe vindicated. May have reasons is enough, though, especially for the IELTS. But ultimately, I side with the belief that only children should serve the consequence for their crimes, or pay the consequence for their crimes. Okay? And then now I can write this essay with first body paragraph talking about the logic for parents, but also the reason why that would not work, right? Which is taking time away from children and potentially not being their fault in the first place, right? And then I can write my second body paragraph, which is talking about the fact that it's just better to focus on the child, on children paying the consequence, and teaching them the laws of society, right? So I can now take this thesis and I can write the introductory paragraph. Students, members, write your thesis statements. I'd love to see your thesis statements, okay? The introduction, everybody, should have a hook, it should have a background, and it should have a thesis, of course, right? Now, for those of you who are looking at older videos on the IELTS exam on YouTube, you'll still see people, of course, in those old videos saying, oh, you don't need a hook, you don't need a background, just paraphrase the question and say this essay will discuss. But if you're looking at the newer videos on YouTube on different channels, like even on some of the other big channels that you see out there, they will now finally explain the same steps to writing a good essay. Why? Because they realize that IELTS, like every other essay in English, has these parts for the introduction of a persuasive essay. And those candidates who have good essay writing skills include these 3 points. So those old videos that said you don't need a hook, they were wrong. And finally, we were vindicated in this. And now a lot of teachers and a lot of content creators are saying, yes, you need a better background, you need a better thesis statement. You can't just write this essay will discuss. We have been saying that from the beginning, and that's because the materials on our websites like aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com aren't tricks for IELTS. They are standard English rules for essay writing, for communication skills, and so on, that come from the history of the English language. So that's what you need to learn and to do on the IELTS exam. So the hook is just a simple statement with the topic that captures the audience. Before that, I'm just going to stick the thesis in. So here, the topic, punishment for juvenile crime. That's the topic. It was very accurately identified by Anna, I believe, right? So all we need is an interesting statement about this, okay? So keep it simple. You don't have to overthink it. Okay, again, just use what you know, simple thoughts. And simple isn't always easy, students. I respect that. But you still want to think simple. Okay? Finding the best solutions to juvenile crimes is challenging. Okay? That's what it is. That's why we have these questions. That's why we get emotional about it, right? Because we really don't like to see children committing crimes. It's an awful feeling, and we're all very saddened by it, and it's, for parents, it's very shameful, and it's a very difficult situation to deal with. If you ever got caught shoplifting, stealing a chocolate bar, and you've ever been in that situation, then you know it's an awful feeling. I have, to be honest, and it's an awful feeling for the parents. And I've seen my children try to take a chocolate bar in the store, right? And I have to explain to them, like, no, that's not, you can't, you gotta pay, right? So it's challenging, it's difficult. You know, how do you fix that problem? So simply just go, finding the best solution to juvenile criminal behavior is challenging. Now, the background, in this case, if you've done good planning, it's going to go nice and smooth. And this is what I mean by, if you have good planning, the essay almost writes itself. I'm careful to say that, but yeah, it's basically that, right? So what comes into the background? The background is the definition of terms, and it's literally like the why or what here. So why does society separate crime to juvenile and adult? Because of mental and physical maturity. So that's what we write here, right? Most societies, I would say all societies, so even, I wouldn't even write most here, societies around the world have a clear separation of under 18 and adult crimes due to mental and physical maturity. It is critical for society to establish clear guidelines of laws and discipline. All right, and then my thesis there. So let me read the introductory paragraph here, okay? Finding the best solutions to juvenile criminal behavior is challenging. Societies around the world have clear separation of under 18 and adult crimes due to mental and physical maturity. It is critical for society to establish clear guidelines of laws and disciplinary action. For both, okay? There, simple, concise, right? So it is critical for society to establish clear guidelines of legal action for both. Punishing parents for their children's crimes may have reasons, but ultimately I side with the belief that only children should pay the consequence for their crimes. Lovely. You are definitely en route to a Band 9 essay with that. And notice how that came together quite easily once I had all of this planning. Now in the IELTS, right, especially if you're doing the computer-based exam, you can copy. You can cut and paste or copy paste just like I did. So you can actually do the planning on the computer. Okay, that's a tip, everybody. And so I would actually do it on the computer, and you can delete whatever you don't use at the end. Does that make sense? So tip. When you are doing the computer-based, now in the paper-based, no, but in the paper-based, they give you paper to plan your essay. So when you are doing the computer-based IELTS, plan your essay directly on the screen or in the computer, and cut, copy, paste into parts of the essay. So you're actually writing the essay while you're planning. So now some of you are like, oh, I really am not wasting time. I'm actually saving time. I can just cut, copy, and then just read over it, and it'll all fit together. Parts of the essay, okay? Just like I did. Okay, at the end, delete any parts you do not need, and make sure that you read the essay or each paragraph as you finish it for accuracy and coherence. Okay, it's a really great strategy. All right, everybody got that? Okay, let me just take a look at what some of our students have written here. In the meantime, all right, so Lewis writes, here, let me make it a little bit bigger, everyone. So Lewis writes, while poor examples set by parents are valid reasons to juvenile crime, are valid reasons to punish them. You have some missing parts here, Lewis. Punish them for their children's crimes, I would say. Their children's crimes. Teenage offenders should be the ones receiving punishment or discipline to pay the cost for the wrong deed and to better understand laws. Okay. For the wrongdoing, let's use the word that Anahita gave us. For the wrongdoing and to better understand laws. Okay, good. Lewis, that's good. You can go with that. A couple of corrections to make it a little bit smoother, but good. Okay. Elizabeth says, I consider adolescents have to pay for their wrong actions. Misdemeanors. I'll give you another word. Misdemeanors. There you go. And learn better behavior that can help society and their families. Yeah, I consider adolescents must pay for their misdemeanors and learn better behavior that can help society and their families. Although there is logic to parents serving or paying or being punished for their children's crimes. Okay, so you need to discuss both views here, Elizabeth. The question says discuss both views and give your opinion. So I would do it like this, Elizabeth. Although there is logic to parents being punished for their children's crimes, I consider adolescents must pay for their misdemeanors and learn better behavior that can help society and their families. All right, Anna, I can see that you're writing the hook here. Okay, that's the nice part. When you know what you're writing, I can clearly see what you're writing. So I can see that Lewis and Elizabeth were writing the thesis, and I can see that Anna is writing the hook. Juvenile crime has increased dramatically in society for the past few decades. Has it though? I don't know about that. Is that true? That would be my question as the reader. Don't write hooks, Anna, that we're not sure of. Okay, so when you state a fact for the hook, it should be a really clear fact that 99.99% of people will agree with. I don't think I agree with this. I actually think if I had to argue with you, Anna, I would say that it has decreased. I would say that juvenile crime is less these days. Kids are well behaved. You'd be surprised. Kids used to be bad. Nowadays they're good. They're too busy with social media and their mobile phones. They don't even steal chocolate bars anymore. Okay. So Anahita says punishment for juvenile crimes leads to a utopian society. Okay, that's how you would want to write that, Anahita. I see where you're going with it. That's how I would write that. That's an interesting hook. Effective punishment for juvenile crimes leads to a utopian society. That's a very powerful hook. Okay. Anahita, just an important word there that was missing, and a couple of corrections. Utopian is the adjective. Okay. All right, students, you've got some good ideas. You're on the right track. I see some hearts flying through the screen. That is great. Okay, now we can write body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1 talks about punishing parents for their children's crime may have reasons. Okay, so certain people, or here I can use, again, a part of my planning, right, which is from my paraphrase here. I can use a bit of my paraphrasing from, yeah. So certain individuals ascertain that their guardians need to be disciplined. Instead, I can take that piece of my paraphrase now. See, that's why I said when you're in your computer-based exam, plan on the screen, not on the separate piece of paper. Okay? So certain individuals ascertain that their guardians, that children's guardians, need to be disciplined instead of the child because it is bad parenting that has led to breaking the law. And it is only fair to punish the parents. Okay. Although this may serve as some vindication for the victims, ultimately it does not benefit, or in the end, I don't want to use ultimately again. In the end, ultimately means like in the end or finally, right? In the end, it does not benefit society, because the child does not learn from this, and they may even suffer greater neglect while the parents are in jail. Okay, so and then we can do an example, right? So when a youth steals a chocolate bar, it may make sense to have the parents spend a week in jail to reflect on their mistakes, but this does not help the child or the store owner. All right. So now I would almost skip the example because I think it's so clear, the argument, but you could. Okay, so this is my body paragraph. Certain individuals ascertain that children's guardians need to be disciplined instead of the child because it is bad parenting that has led to breaking the law, and it is only fair to punish the parents. Now, if I want to avoid the parents, the mother or father. Although this may serve as some vindication, this is an interesting word. It's nice high level of vocabulary that you can learn. For the victims, vindicate means to compensate or to correct. Okay, to make the person feel like, yes, I was right. Yes, I'm feeling good about this now. Okay. In the end, it does not benefit society because the child does not learn from this, and they may even suffer greater neglect while the parents are in jail. When a youth steals a chocolate bar, it may make sense to have the parents spend a week in jail to reflect on their mistakes, but this does not help the child or the store owner. On the other hand, now did I write first person? I want to check. Yes, I did. So in my thesis, I wrote, I side with the belief. Okay. So I want to use that first person even in this body paragraph. Okay. I can put it here. So when you use the pronoun I in your introduction, everybody, you're telling the reader that you're writing a first-person essay. That means it is your opinion, it's your belief, okay? And I'm doing that here. I side with the belief. It is absolutely okay to do that in the IELTS exam, right? Members, I'm still looking for your writing in the chat. So it's not just me writing, and I like reflecting and seeing what you do. So keep writing. Anna, I see that you wrote, certain individuals believe that children have to be punished for crimes they commit. However, other people believe that their mothers and fathers have to be punished instead of their children. Good. Lewis says, poor parenting is a contributing cause for juvenile delinquency. Very nice, Lewis. This means manners and characters are not taught to their children at a young age. Very nice, Lewis. I really like it. Okay, you've got nice, clear thinking now. Great. Okay. All right. On the other side, people and societies, now I can make this more concise, right? You want to practice concise writing so that you can write quickly and clearly. So on the other side, people and societies, including myself, believe that the punishment must be served to the juveniles as this results in the best outcomes for that individual and the community. Regardless of parenting, when society punishes the child, that person not only learns consequence, but can also contribute through community service. Indeed, a child stealing a chocolate bar can better mature when they need to spend 100 hours cleaning up garbage around the city than if their parents were to spend time in jail. Okay, so there is my example. All right, so this is the other side of the argument. It's the side that I support. I include my opinion here, and now I can write the conclusion. So here we go. Always check your paragraphs after you finish them. On the other side, people and societies, including myself, believe that the punishment must be served to the juveniles as this results in the best outcomes for that individual and the community. Regardless of parenting, when society punishes the child, that person not only learns consequence, but can also contribute through community service. Indeed, a child stealing a chocolate bar, notice how I'm using the same example to make that connection, can better mature when they need to spend 100 hours cleaning up garbage around the city than if their parents were to spend time in jail. In conclusion, okay, and the 2 points. In conclusion, parents may be held accountable for their children's crimes, but this does not end well. Instead, making children or youth pay the price of their misconducts has the best results. Therefore, I strongly believe that it is juveniles that must be punished and not their parents. Now we could go with the saying, it takes a community or it takes a village to raise a child, right? We could say, as the saying goes, but I don't like to use. So there is this saying, and I'm sure many of you have heard this, it's quite international, as the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Has everybody heard that saying, by the way? I recommend avoiding this. So again, it's emotional. As much as emotionally I want to have that as my take-home message in the conclusion. For those of you tuning in and you're like, whoa, what's going on? So much is going on. a lot of this information, and many of the students who are members in this class, they have reviewed this content in the courseware, so they know that a good conclusion should end with a message for the reader that's based on that topic, right? Emotionally, I want that message to be like, it takes a village to raise a child. And I bet a lot of people have this in your own language. You have similar expressions or saying. So I have that saying. We have that saying in English as well, but I don't like to use the words of society or other people in an essay. I like to use my own words, and I think that gets you a better band score in the IELTS as well. Okay, so I'm going to use my own words here. All right, and so therefore, I strongly believe that it is juveniles that must be punished and not their parents. When parenting fails at home, it is society's responsibility to implement help for children. Okay, I'm going to simplify. So when parenting fails at home, it is society's responsibility to implement help for children and not the parents. Okay, now again, obviously there are a lot of other pieces I could have written here about genetics, about this and that, but my goal is to have an essay in 40 minutes. Now let's see how many words we have here. That is right on mark. It's 336 words. And it's about a band 9. Okay, again, remember what I said, band 9 essays are usually between 300 and 350 words. Okay, so here is the question and the essay again, everybody. Let's just take a look at it. Okay, so this was, again, for those of you joining in, an essay that was covered, or a very similar question that was covered by IELTS exams around the world, May 9th. Okay, so a few weeks ago, there was a very similar question in the official IELTS exams, and it sounds like this. Some people think that children should be punished for the crime they commit. Others also believe that their parents should be punished instead. Discuss both views and give your opinion. After planning, this is what we came up with. Finding the best solutions to juvenile criminal behavior is challenging. Societies around the world have clear separation of under 18 and adult crimes due to mental and physical maturity. It is critical for society to establish clear guidelines of legal action for both. Punishing parents for their children's crimes may have reasons, but ultimately, I side with the belief that only children should pay the consequence excuse me, for their crimes. I sneezed, it must be true. Certain individuals ascertain that children's guardians need to be disciplined instead of the child because it is bad parenting that has led to breaking the law, and it is only fair to punish the mother or father. Thank you, Carolina. Although this may serve as some vindication for the victims, in the end, I do not think this benefits society because the child does not learn from this, and they may even suffer greater neglect while the parents are in jail. When a youth steals a chocolate bar, it may make sense to have the parents spend a week in jail to reflect on their mistakes, but this does not help the child or the store owner. On the other side, people and societies, including myself, believe that the punishment must be served to the juveniles, as this results in the best outcomes for that individual and the community. Regardless of parenting, when society punishes the child, that person not only learns consequence, but can also contribute through community service. Indeed, a child stealing a chocolate bar can better mature when they need to spend 100 hours cleaning up garbage around the city than if their parents were to spend time in jail. In conclusion, parents may be held accountable for their children's crimes, but this does not end well. Instead, making youth pay the price of their misconducts has the best results. Therefore, I strongly believe that it is juveniles that must be punished and not their parents. When parenting fails at home, it is society's responsibility to implement help for the children and not necessarily for the guardians. Okay. And now I have my essay, and I'm happy with that. And I guarantee you that essay will get you somewhere between a Band 8 and a Band 9 score for sure. Okay, it has all the pieces. It clearly answers the question. It gives good explanations and examples. It has task completion, the right vocabulary, and a very coherent response. Students, you've done a fantastic job. I'm going to post this. Everybody on the websites, you do have assistance for your task 2 writing. It is right here. Task 1, Task 2. These are paid services. They require the time of professionals to edit, mark, correct, give feedback. A Task 2 essay takes about 20 to 30 minutes for a professional to go through, to edit, to respond to the person. Okay. Shahad actually bought 4 hours ago. I can see her in the corner. Task 2, so you can practice it there. Sign up for the premium package. That's step number 1. The best way to do that is just to click the big red button that's above me there. For academic, for general IELTS, same idea, gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that we will use in 30 minutes for listening part 1 and listening part 2. So check it out, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. In 30 minutes, I'm coming back, and that lesson, the chat will be open to everybody, I believe, or maybe to subscribers. You will soon find out, but you should subscribe to the YouTube channel anyway. It's free and you get free content, so why not, right? All right, students, I'm back in half an hour and I look forward to it. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria, Canada for now. Bye, everybody.